besides being involved in these just incredible research studies that we've heard about this weekend, there was nothing that I could personally do to stop this disease. So IVF with PGD was a brand new thing for the prion disease community. So I figured that if it worked for me, it could potentially work for you. It could give us some of our power back. We could actually do something to beat these diseases at their own game. And then 3, the most important reason is, I've given this speech so many years and I always cry at this part. I did it for them, for the ones sitting at the table over there. When I look in the mirror, I see GSS. I see what it's done to my family. But when I look at them, I don't. I see hope. I see hope for a brighter future for my family and then for a lot of other families in this room. PGD gave me the ability to protect them. And I find power and love and courage in the fact that as far as my family is concerned, this disease stops with me. It's done. So 8 years ago, through a case study published in JAMA Neurology, I was identified as the first woman in history to undergo IVF with PGD for a genetic prion disease. Since then, my family's been featured in the New York Times and then in the book that you see out front called Mercies in Disguise.
So 10 years ago is when my story really began, when my mom passed away. We were lucky enough that her father had CJD on his death certificate in 1976, which is very bizarre. So we were able to figure out what was going on with her through the blood test and find out that it was a genetic form. What I found was the lack of information out there readily available and the resources. The foundation was there, which was fantastic. So I did come to the conference, shortly after we went through our process. And my day job is producing TV and film. So I felt like the one thing that I could do, because I'm not gonna, change my life and become a researcher. Nobody wants that. So the one thing I could do was try to fill that void. And what I did was create a documentary about my journey, kind of from the moment of my mom and what she was going through. I basically bought a camera so I could start documenting what she was going through, and I put it out and created One in a Million, the documentary. So my goal and what I'm trying to do, and this is in regards to some of the last words my mom spoke to me, was fight for me. So my goal is to get that information out there and help tell the stories, fill that void where the gaps are in information, hopefully correct misinformation, make sure that these people get their stories told.
Now, it is hard to sit in this room and feel lucky, but you can't find an asset like the surveillance center in any other comparably rare disease. You can't find a diagnostic as good as RT-Quick, and you can't find a molecular story about the cause of the disease that is more clear. We have a single gene that we have to go after. We know what we have to do to it. And I think it's a combination of all of the science that came before us and the biotechnological moment at which we're operating. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, different story, different world. But I think that we are in a moment of sea change right now, and we see it every day. And honestly, if I thought we had no chance to develop a life-saving therapy in our lifetimes, my life would probably be more relaxing. I probably would have come to a different peace a long time ago. But when I tell you that things are possible, not guaranteed, not promised to us, but possible right now that have never been possible before, I'm not talking about the next generation. I'm talking about the people next to me right now. So I really, really believe that, and we are working ourselves into the ground for it. And I want you guys to take away a feeling of hope from this weekend. It's a different world than when I got into this game 13 years ago.